Thank you for browsing page 121. Today we're going to dive into the player's handbook and we're going to take a look at two cleric spells, Light and Continual Light. The Light spell is its Continual Light's baby brother. He said, filling the air while he looked. There we are. I had marked Continual Light. I forgot to mark Light. So the Light spell. This is kind of important to the Continual Light. So the Light spell itself. Level 1 spell, 120-foot range, 6 turns plus 1 turn per level, so minimum 7 turns. A 20-foot radius globe, verbal and somatic components needed, 4-segment casting time, saving throw none. This spell causes excitation of molecules so as to make them brightly luminous. The light thus caused is equal to torchlight in brightness, but its sphere is limited to a 40-foot in diameter. It lasts for the duration indicated, 7 turns for first level experience, so on. The light spell is reversible, causing darkness in the same area and under the same conditions, except the blackness persists for only 1/2 the duration that light would last. If this spell is cast upon a creature, the applicable magic resistance and saving throw dice rolls must be made. Success indicates the spell affects the area immediately behind the creature rather than the creature itself. In all cases, the light takes effect where the caster directs as long as he or she has a line of sight or unobstructed path for the spell. Light can spring from air, rock, metal, wood, or almost any similar substance. So there you go. That's a light spell. Use it to blind your enemies, especially if you're able to cast it on their eyes, or illuminate that treasure hoard so you can see what you're looking at. And 77 turns, 70 minutes, that's pretty decent duration for a first level spell. So yeah, definitely useful and definitely one I take when I play a cleric. Nice offensive cleric spell. And then we have Continual Light, its older brother. 3rd level cleric spell for this one. It is also reversible. It's level 3, 120-foot range. Duration is permanent. A 60-foot radius globe. Verbal and somatic components. 6-segment casting time and none. This is a 60-foot radius globe. So 120-foot. Wow, that's cool. This spell is similar to a light spell, except that it lasts until negated by continual darkness or dispel magic. And its brightness is very great, being nearly as illuminating as full daylight. It can be cast into air onto an object or at a creature. In the third case, the continual light affects the space about 1 foot behind the creature if the latter makes its saving throw. Note this spell will blind a creature to successfully cast upon the visual organs, for example. If it's cast on the visual organs, for example. Its reverse causes complete absence of light, and that is also permanent. So it's a good way. I used it I had it as an NPC cleric, had warded parts of his safe area, his refuge, with that. He was an evil cleric, and he used continual darkness to block out this or that. So the players had to keep expending light sources to get rid of the darkness. The way I rule, by the way, if someone has cast a continual darkness and somebody uses a light spell to get rid of it, a light spell will temporarily suspend the darkness for the length of the light spell. But after that, the continual darkness comes back. And as far as this being cast on creatures, again, they have to make their saving throw, just like with a light spell, or they'll permanently have the light on their eyes. It's come out in subsequent things. This might even be a second edition thing, I'm not sure. But it's come out that over time, the continual light spell itself actually starts to degrade the object it's on. If you hit a stone with it of decent size, like about the size of your hand, that stone over 1,000 years is going to whittle away to nothing. I think that was put in so that players weren't always casting on their characters' swords. I had a couple players that were really excited about the idea of casting on their daggers. They'd have a continual light on their dagger, they'd pull the dagger out, and then they'd be able to see everywhere all the time. I had a cleric that actually cast it on his +1 mace and was walking around with that for a while, but he learned after a while that always having a light source with you made you a good target for things that were just past the light source. So just some different things there. But Continual Light, very useful spell, 3rd level. I will often take that. I got to see, I think you're 5th level when you cast this guy. I got to be sure. Haven't looked at the chart. For 3rd level, you are 5th level, yes. 5th level cleric to get a 3rd level spell. So that's a quick look at them here. Let's see what the Dungeon Master's Guide had to say about them. Dungeon Master's Guide came out a year later, a year after the player's handbook, and subsequently they put a few changes in some of the spells in here. Nothing really drastic, but always worth a look. So we look at light. For cleric spells, it should be noted the spell is cast upon a visage or before the visual organs of a creature. It will tend to blind it rather than as if a strong light were placed before its eyes. And its attack and defenses will be at -4 to hit saving throws and even armor class. Note also the spell is not mobile, although it can be cast upon a movable or mobile object or creature. So that's kind of strange, but they didn't want you to confuse it with dancing lights that you could just cast and have follow you around. And then going to the third level, continual light. As does the light spell, this will tend to blind a creature if placed upon its visual sensory area. This spell can also be placed upon a smallish object and a light-proof case subsequently used to encase it so as to make it dark until the covering is removed. A continual light source which expends no fuel and will not blown out, although it will be canceled by darkness. We do this still to this day. You cast the continual light spell on a rock and put the rock or ball bearing or whatever, put it in a shuttered lantern. You see you have a continual light source. You can open up one side of the lantern and it will just shoot the beam forth, almost like a flashlight. And that's very common at our table. We do that quite a bit. So there you have it, just a quick look at light and continual light. They can be used to illuminate the area. They can also be used as offensive spells. So be sure, when you're consulting your various spells, be sure to take a look at the Dungeon Master's Guide and see what it has to say, because sometimes it'll give you ideas and different use of the spells, that sort of thing. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please leave any comments below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. I'm still trying to grow the channel. And also take a look at the Patreon, see if there's anything else you can do there to help me out. I would appreciate it. But that's all for today on page 121. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.